Did you really choose to watch this video, or was it inevitable? From the moment we wake up, we make countless choices: what to wear, what to eat, what words to say. We believe that we are in control of our actions, that we navigate life through personal decisions. But what if free will is an illusion? What if every choice we make is the inevitable outcome of prior causes? The concept of free will has been a philosophical battleground for centuries, with modern science now joining the discussion. This video explores whether free will is real, or if we are merely passengers in a predetermined reality. Determinism is the idea that everything in the universe, including human thoughts and actions, is the result of prior events and laws of nature. If every cause has an effect, then our choices are simply effects of causes that stretch back to the beginning of time. Practical applications of this idea can be seen in predictive algorithms, which use past behaviors to accurately forecast human actions, supporting the notion that our decisions follow predetermined patterns. Philosophers divide on whether free will can coexist with determinism. Compatibilists argue that even if our choices are determined, we still have agency, because our decisions stem from internal desires and reasoning. Anti-compatibilists, however, assert that if determinism is true, then the very notion of choice is an illusion. Our minds are just executing pre-scripted actions like a movie playing out frame by frame. This debate is mirrored in AI decision-making, where algorithms operate on vast amounts of prior data, yet can be programmed to simulate choice based on preferences. Libertarians reject determinism, arguing that some human actions are not caused by prior events but arise from pure autonomous will. However, this raises another issue. If choices aren't determined by anything, are they simply random? If an action is neither determined nor random, then what exactly guides it? Neuroscientific studies on brain activity suggest that even when people believe they are making spontaneous decisions, their neural activity often reveals a predetermined outcome. One of the most famous challenges to free will comes from neuroscience, particularly the experiments of Benjamin Libet in the 1980s. His studies found that brain activity indicating a decision occurs before a person is consciously aware of making that decision. In other words, the brain chooses first, and our conscious mind only experiences the feeling of making a choice after the fact. This phenomenon is reflected in habit formation research, where actions become automatic due to repeated neural conditioning, often preceding conscious intent. Psychologists suggest that much of what we think of as decision-making is actually carried out subconsciously before we become aware of it. The subconscious mind processes experiences, emotions, and environmental cues, leading us to act in ways we believe are freely chosen, but may actually be the result of unseen forces. This is evident in marketing psychology, where brands strategically place advertisements to influence purchasing decisions before consumers are consciously aware of their preferences. Our upbringing, genetics, and external circumstances all shape our decisions. Studies in behavioral genetics show that many personality traits, tendencies, and even political preferences have strong biological influences. If our decisions are shaped by factors beyond our control, can they truly be considered free choices? Twin studies reveal that identical twins raised separately often exhibit similar behaviors, suggesting that genetic predisposition plays a far greater role than personal autonomy. Studies have shown that people often create justifications for decisions they were unaware were already made. In split brain patient studies, subjects would act on unconscious impulses and then invent logical reasons for why they did so, demonstrating that the mind often fills in gaps after the fact rather than genuinely controlling actions. This is further supported by machine learning models, which can predict user behavior based on past data, often before the user realizes their own intentions. Human decisions are often influenced by biases, emotions, and heuristics rather than rational free choice. People act on gut feelings, social pressures, and psychological tendencies, all of which operate beneath conscious awareness. If our choices are shaped by these forces, how much control do we really have? This is seen in political campaign strategies where emotional appeals and framing techniques are designed to manipulate voting behavior without voters realizing they've been influenced. If free will is an illusion, then what does this mean for moral responsibility? Should criminals be punished if they had no true choice in their actions? Some argue that justice systems should focus more on rehabilitation rather than retribution if individuals are simply acting out predetermined roles. This concept is being applied in criminal psychology programs, where rehabilitation efforts are based on understanding neurological and environmental influences rather than assuming moral failing. Many legal systems operate on the assumption that people can choose between right and wrong. But if our actions are determined by factors beyond our control, should sentencing be based more on psychology and neuroscience rather than moral guilt? Some legal scholars advocate for neuroscientific evidence in courtrooms, where brain scans and behavioral studies help determine levels of culpability. If we are not truly making our own choices, what does that say about our sense of self? The idea of personal identity may itself be a construct of a system that runs on pre-programmed reactions and experiences. This question is particularly relevant in AI development, where researchers debate whether artificial intelligence could ever have a sense of identity if its decisions are purely determined by data inputs. Some physicists argue that because quantum mechanics allows for randomness, not everything is predetermined. However, randomness alone doesn't create free will. It simply introduces unpredictability into the equation. This unpredictability is leveraged in quantum computing, where randomness is used to enhance problem-solving algorithms, but it doesn't imply conscious decision-making. Even if initial impulses are determined, Some argue that conscious reflection allows us to influence or override decisions. This suggests that while we may not have absolute free will, we might have degrees of agency in how we respond to our circumstances. This is reflected in cognitive behavioral therapy, where individuals learn to consciously recognize and counteract automatic negative thought patterns. Even if our choices are determined, does it change anything about how we live? Many argue that believing in free will is beneficial as it encourages responsibility, motivation, and personal growth, regardless of its ultimate truth. This perspective is seen in self-improvement methodologies, where the illusion of control is used to enhance decision-making and productivity. So, do we have free will, or are we just experiencing the illusion of making choices while forces beyond our awareness guide us? While philosophy, neuroscience, and psychology suggest that much of our behavior is predetermined, we continue to experience life as if we are in control. Perhaps, in the end, the question is not whether free will is real, but whether we should continue acting as if it is. Regardless of whether free will exists, the belief in it shapes our actions, laws, and ethics. Think you chose to watch this? Maybe. But choosing to subscribe, that's up to you. Or is it